Welcome to Rom Wills, Money Matters. Work on developing a wealth consciousness, This is very important because, and I've talked about this before, I even really talked about it on my Deep Thought channel. Can't remember the exact video, but you know me. Shoot, all this stuff blend together. And just real quick, everything I talk about is all connected. Whether I'm talking about man gets woman, woman gets man, thinking on a deeper level, making money, all of it's connected ultimately. All of it's connected. We can't separate parts of our life. But anyway, work on developing a wealth consciousness, because one of the biggest issues with many people is not that they're not making money, it's how they're thinking, how they're approaching stuff. That's the real issue. That is the real issue with a great many people. It's how they spend it. And they're like in the last podcast, I talked about knowing someone who was making six figures but was constantly broke. You know, I remember one time when I was working at this gym. I was working at this gym and there was a young lady there who was making more money. I was working there part-time, working in the government, and she was making more money just on her regular job than I was in the government. And she was still having to live at home. Still didn't have the money. But she had a poverty consciousness. Indeed, that poverty consciousness, if you notice what poor people do, they get a little bit of money and they spend it. And it's not always on the necessities. You don't even count that. They spend it on a lot of things that they don't need. They spend a lot of, it's like what I mentioned in the last podcast about, you know, you get the poor people, they'll buy all the expensive stuff. They'll buy all the expensive clothes. You know they looking fly. You go to a poor area, you know, it's like when coming up, they say, hey, you know, the fellas used to say, hey, those women from the housing projects used to be fly as hell. And they would be. They would be. And indeed, it's another conversation about people stealing stuff, real expensive stuff. But that's that thing. They will spend money on expensive things to look good. But that's a poverty thing, just to spend. It's a big reason why they're really poor. They don't have a concept of saving the money. As soon as they get the money, they spend it, even if it's on stuff they don't really need. Like I said, it don't count if you're spending money on rent or, well, if they poor, mostly rent. Sometimes they can be poor and have a mortgage, another conversation. Or food, or, you know, the basics. Everybody has to do that. But when you spend it on alcohol, cigarettes, expensive clothing just to look good, you know, that could be a problem. But that's a poverty consciousness. See, someone with a wealth consciousness, though. Well, before I go further, people with a poverty consciousness tend to have a scarcity. They think money is scarce. So it's like when you get something, you spend it. It's like, oh, I got this money, I got to spend it. That's why you will get poor people who will win the lottery and that money is gone in a year. Meanwhile, you get to someone with the wealth consciousness. Now, let's put, here's an example. They could be making the same amount of money. Now, the poverty, and it's pretty good. I mean, it would be considered, let's put the money at 30,000. 30,000. Well, 35,000. That's about the average anyway. The one with the poverty consciousness, they're going to be in debt because they're going to get credit cards. They're going to spend. The same person with the wealth consciousness, they're going to put money away. They're going to think about putting money into income producing assets. Or they're going to figure out, say, hey, wait a minute, why not put this money away, start this business, side hustle, side business, make some money, but don't spend it and put it away. Just put it back in the business and put whatever I got away. They're going to spend their money differently. They're going to spend money on like just the necessities, of course, but you know, they ain't going to do stuff that's going to do extra stuff that's going to take their money away. But one of the most important things with people with a wealth consciousness, they will say there's always money. Like people with the wealth consciousness, I mean, now they're starting to use the R word, recession. People with the wealth consciousness, they're like, okay. Now, I'll just say it. Rom's always had a wealth consciousness because I've yet to be affected by a recession. I've always made more money in recessions, even if I was working on a job. It's because money, if you have if you have a wealth consciousness, you realize money is always out there. It's not going away. The money isn't going away. It's really how people are spending the money. And when you find, and I've seen this for decades, usually when people end up broke, they were spending, like I said, they had a poverty consciousness, a scarcity consciousness. They were spending money on things that they really didn't need. So here's the thing. You want to work on developing a wealth consciousness. One of the first ways is to realize there's plenty of money out there. I don't care what somebody say. You know, people will say, well, there's no money out here. Yeah, there's plenty of money because money keeps circulating. And that doesn't stop. There's plenty of money. Even when stuff is going up, even with the rise in prices, you can still afford it. You can still afford stuff. And I talked about saving that money even while driving. So you can shoot. There's plenty out there. It's just a matter of, can you turn it in your direction? That's it. And even if you get a job, like some people act like, well, I need money. Get a job. And seriously, it really is that simple. Or I can't find a job. Oh, there's tons of jobs. It's just a question of what you want to do. See, someone with a poverty consciousness, they probably won't see like all the opportunities there are out here. Someone with a wealth consciousness do. So that's the first thing. Work on it. Just tell yourself, wait, there's plenty of money out here. It's a matter of how to get it. And even then, what you're willing to do to get it. Because there's plenty of people. Even if you work a job, I told the story before. It was a woman who was like a second mother to me. Now, she was working on a government job, and she just needed a little bit extra money. And my grandmother said, hey, just get a part-time job. I learned that from my grandmother. She told that to a lot of people. Get a job. If you got free time, get a part-time job. And you can actually build up money. There's plenty of money. If you're willing, you get what you're willing to work for. But see, that's a wealth consciousness. So that's the first thing. Understand the money hasn't disappeared. Everything is floating around. With interest rates or whatever, I don't care if it's going up. It's like, oh, let me think about more ways to make money. Let me share something about me. Anybody who's really following me know I got numerous sites and everything. Every time I even think I might want more money, I just say, oh, let me do a video here. Let me do this. I still got some projects I need to work on. Oh, man. Got so much. But work on developing it. And like I said, the first main thing is realizing is money out here. It's floating around. It is floating around. You got to just change your idea about money and everything. Think it's the energy. The energy is there. You guys just got to turn it your way. All right. And that's the basics. I'm going to get more into that in future episodes. All right. But you just got to change how you're thinking. Okay. So anyway, y'all know the deal. Let's go make that money.